Now to officially start our meeting, if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Clermont County Board of Commissioners meeting. This is called to order at 10 a.m. on the 23rd of September, and we'll get started with the agenda as presented. Prior to starting with the agenda, I'd just like to acknowledge that Commissioner Humphrey is with us here today by virtual meeting.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Humphrey, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go right ahead. B is for approval of regular session minutes of September the 16th, 2020. Board, I know you've had these minutes early, had the opportunity to review them, have any changes or revisions that need to be made. Do I have a motion to approve the regular session minutes of 9/16/2020?
I move we approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. And as usual, Julianne Nisbet is not going to be with us here this morning, so I will not be moving the county elected official discussion up in the agenda. And so we will move right on with C. We have a proclamation this morning. That proclamation is the designation of September 25th, 2020 as Disabled American Veterans Day in Clermont County. And who will be accepting the proclamation this morning? And let everyone out there know who you are and who you represent here today.
My name is Gerald Lytle. I am with the commander of the local Chapter 63 of the Disabled American Veterans.
Commander, we are pleased to have you here today.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for coming. I'll read this for you.
All righty.
Whereas the Disabled American Veterans DAV was founded by World War I disabled veterans in Cincinnati, Ohio on September 25th, 1990. For everybody out there that's thinking about that, this is 100 years. Whereas Disabled Veterans DAV Chapter number 63, Clermont County, was chartered in Clermont County in 1938 and has been serving disabled veterans since its inception. Whereas on September 25th, 2020, the DAV celebrates 100 years of serving veterans of the armed forces, their families and survivors, and communities. And the DAV is dedicated to a single purpose, empowering veterans to lead high-quality lives with respect and dignity. And whereas the DAV accomplishes this by ensuring veterans and their families have access to the full range of benefits available to them, by fighting for the interest of America's injured heroes and by educating the public about the needs of veterans transitioning back to civilian life. Whereas the DAV provides free professional assistance to veterans and their families in obtaining benefits and services provided by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and other agencies. And whereas the DAV also provides outreach concerning its programs and services to the American people generally, and to disabled veterans and their families specifically. And whereas the DAV represents the interests of disabled veterans, their families, their widowed spouses, and their orphans before the federal government, as well as state and local governments. Whereas the DAV has fought tirelessly for equal access to critical VA caregiver benefits and services for severely disabled veterans of all generations, resulting in legislation enacted to expand eligibility to those injured prior to September 11, 2001, as part of the VA Missions Act. And the DAV fights for providing equitable benefits and services for women and minority veterans, and to improve veterans' mental health care and suicide prevention efforts. And whereas the DAV Chapter number 63 here in Clermont County demonstrate their unending commitment to ill and injured veterans of all generations and conflicts. And whereas Clermont County is proud to honor the members of DAV Chapter number 63 in Clermont County, Ohio. Now let it be therefore proclaimed that the Clermont County Board of Commissioners do hereby designate September 25th, 2020 as Disabled American Veterans Day in Clermont County and we commend its observance for all citizens. And it's signed David L. Painter, President, Edwin H. Humphrey, Vice President, and Claire B. Corcoran, member of the Clermont County Board of Commissioners. Commander, it's my pleasure to present you this proclamation for Veterans Day for September 25th, 2020. And I would be so pleased if you would accept it.
Do so.
And if you would speak, please, and make some comments from the podium. Podium is yours.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to present you with our anniversary special coin that depicts a soldier carrying a wounded soldier on the reverse side. I think that really demonstrates what the DAV is all about.
And what I would say is, although you presented this to me, I'll accept this on behalf of the board of Clermont County Commissioners.
All right.
I'm humbled to do so, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm not much for speeches, I'm afraid. I usually defer that to my adjutant, who's also the department commander for the Disabled American Veterans. But we are an active chapter as far as what we do. We do immense work as far as donations, and we get the whatever comes in for us as far as donations are concerned goes out to the veterans. We have usually when we give our report, we're not tooting our horn, mind you, but usually when we give our annual report, we have at least a page of what we've accomplished during the year. And that says a lot about our organization. Our organization, as far as Chapter 63, we have over 600 members. That doesn't mean that all those members show up at a meeting at any given time, but those who do actively participate in helping veterans. So on behalf of Chapter 63, we really, really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you've done. Since everybody is masked up, we would love to have a picture here. We'd like to do it in front of our virtual screen here so we can get Commissioner Humphrey into the picture from his remote location. If you all would come up, we would be absolutely honored to do that. You get in the middle with the proclamation. Then we can all kind of get around. And then we can make. Do that. We can, yeah, we can go this way. Keep it clear. Get my
Commissioner Humphrey, can you say something?
Hello, hello, hello. How's that?
We can't in here.
No, okay.
Easy, auxiliary member.
I'm auxiliary.
We accept auxiliary.
Well, I know, but I think
I hear you.
it should be the veterans up there.
1, 2, 3.
Shirley, take the picture.
Come on.
And Mike, you can send them some of these pictures, can't you?
Yeah.
Take one more.
At least one. Somebody's missing one. Okay.
We're good.
Great.
Thank you, everyone, for your service. Thank you for all you do.
Thanks for being
Be careful these cords though.
Yeah.
See, that's one of the reasons I'm here. That's one of the reasons I'm here.
Report for 2019. We're still working on 2020.
Okay.
That shows all the activities that we participated on the back of the sheet. You'll notice that all the funds that we received back have gone out to these agencies and these projects. So we have one for each of the
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time today to come in, too. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll get it. Thank you. Need that. Thank you very much.
Synopsis of the.
Okay. And then do you have one, see if one on? Do you want this? Yeah. Today, you're all the way there.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
They do great work.
Yes,
You
they
know, they
do.
are,
Sure do.
when you look at the list of accomplishments that they have and places that they support, you know, it gets right down to, you know, hats and scarves and socks for homeless veterans. I mean, that's the level that they take that to. And what a better group to help out than those who are disabled American veterans. We will continue on with the agenda. We're at D, a presentation. I understand we have John McManus here this morning. He's the administrator of the Clermont Soil and Water Conservation District, and he has a 2019 annual report. John, thank you for being at the meeting.
I appreciate you inviting me to talk about our programs, activities from 2019.
So let's talk about how we're going to keep soil safe.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, Tom Eigel, we have the MOU on the agenda later, and Tom asked me if I give a presentation on our 2019 programs, and I thought a chance to talk about something other than 2020. Absolutely. Let's talk about 2019. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right. So I'd like to start by introducing our Board of Supervisors. We are governed by a board of 5. They are all volunteers. And the picture shown shows our 2019 supervisors. And from left to right, you have Todd Weinmiller, Joe Glassmeyer, Melody Newman, Steve Phillips. Steve is the chair of our board this year, and Dave Onspa. Melody Newman, shown in the center there. After 3 terms on her board, she decided to step down last year. And at our annual meeting last September, Connie O'Connor was elected to take her place. Connie is the Director of Education at the Cincinnati Nature Center. She's a great addition to our board. We thought about having a new photo taken back in February or March, and we thought, oh, we'll just wait a little bit. And now we can't get everybody to squeeze together for a photo. So we'll get a new photo sooner or later. I do want to note that right now we're in the midst of an election for the board for 2021. There are 2 supervisor positions open. And if someone is a resident or a landowner in Clermont County, we encourage them to vote. They can go to our website, clermontswcd.org, and find out all the information on the candidates, the process, everything they need to know about our election. Next, our staff. There's me, of course, I'm district administrator. We have Susie Stephenson, our administrative assistant. Becky McClatchy is our natural resources specialist. Jake Hahn, our district technician. And in May of this year, we hired Kat Zelak as our education coordinator. Kat, of course, replaces Judy Krebs, who was our longtime educator, who retired this January after 31 years of service to the district. Okay. Since the district was formed 77 years ago, our primary mission has been to work closely with farmers to put conservation practices on the ground, practices that improve the quality of the soil and practices that prevent the runoff of soil and nutrients and other pollutants. We work hand in hand with the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resource Conservation Service, NRCS, to do this, to provide financial assistance to the farmers for various practices through various Farm Bill programs. Now, the funding comes from the Department of Ag, but Soil and Water is instrumental in promoting and educating the farmers on the opportunities available to them and for the design and construction of some of the practices. The manure storage facility you see there in the photo was designed by Jake. 2019 practices, you see some of the numbers up there. I just want to focus on the cover crops. So cover crops are what's planted after a farmer harvests the cash crop, after he harvests the beans or the corn. And the cover crops remain on the ground over winter, providing a more or less permanent cover. And there are a tremendous number of benefits, advantages to cover crops. That permanent cover prevents soil erosion, runoff of nutrients that you would otherwise see with bare ground. The roots of the cover crops break up the soil compaction. They increase infiltration. They sequester nutrients. Really, really important practice for not only improving the soil quality, but reducing the amount of nutrient and sediment runoff. Back about 9 or 10 years ago, we did not have any acres of cover crops enrolled in some of the Farm Bill programs. And today, annually, we're seeing about 7,000 acres. So the farmers are really starting to adopt that practice.
John, is
Yes.
the particular cover that you use, is it selected for its enhancement to the ground also?
Yes, there are a lot of different species of cover crops that can be planted. They can be planted singly. They can be planted in a mix. Each provides a different kind of benefit. And now this was in 2019, but about 5 years ago, we put together a cover crop guide for Southwest Ohio farmers that's been in real high demand. And it goes into all the benefits of the different types of cover crops, what the benefits are, when you should plant them, how you can knock them down. Really comprehensive guide. And we've gotten interest not only from farmers in our area, but throughout the state.
And then one of the things that may be overlooked in Clermont County is just really how detrimental erosion is. You know, people see that happen in its soil and not just in cash crop areas, but also whether that is streams and creeks around our county and when it comes to crops and the runoff of nutrients, fertilizers, and all those kinds of things. You know, just explain a second how that material gets recharged in the aquifer. And, you know, I mean, it's a huge impact that's way bigger than just keeping that material on the field.
Absolutely. I mean, it causes water quality impairments in the streams. It affects the biological communities, but maybe even more important, especially the nutrients. I think a lot of people right now are familiar with the harmful algal blooms we've been seeing in East Fork Lake. And this is not a typical type of algae. It's really it's a cyanobacteria, which produces a toxin that can cause some really serious health effects. And the blooms are driven by the nutrients as well as water temperature and some other things, but the nutrients are the real driving force.
And what is that particular nutrient that makes those algae blooms?
Nitrogen and phosphorus primarily, yeah. And the more we can do, whether it's on the farm fields or with maintaining our septic systems or not putting down too much fertilizer on our residential lawns, anything we can do to keep the nutrients out of the stream and eventually the lake is a big help.
Thank you.
Sure. So continuing with our ag conservation efforts, Soil and Water, we're not a regulatory agency. So most of what we accomplish in terms of agricultural conservation is through education. And in 2019, we received an Ohio Environmental Education Fund grant to create a one-stop website for different agricultural conservation programs and resources, primarily to help guide the farmer through the complexities of the different federal programs. That website is called the Southwest Ohio Ag Conservation Menu. And if anybody's interested in checking it out, the website's up there, soacm.com. Each year, this year being, well, no, we did get one in this year in February, but each year we try to hold at least one educational workshop or field day for the farmers. In February 2019, we held a nutrient management workshop that was well attended by 50 people. Primarily, we reviewed what we call the 4 R's of nutrient management, and that's using the right source of fertilizer, putting it down in the right amount, in the right place, and at the right time of year. So we reviewed the 4 R's, fertilizer recommendations in the Tri-State Guide, and some different technologies that help the farmer accomplish this. Agricultural pollution abatement complaints. It's not something we receive a lot of, but I think it's important to mention, because if someone in the county sees a problem with sediment runoff or manure runoff from an agricultural activity, and that would include logging, which we see a bit of in Clermont County, they can call our office, and under an agreement we have with the Ohio Department of Agriculture, we investigate the complaint, and if it's found to be a valid complaint, we work with the farmer or the responsible party to voluntarily come up with a plan to correct the problem. In 2019, we only had 2 such complaints, but they were both successfully resolved. I mentioned we work hand in hand with NRCS. This year, 2020, we have a completely new NRCS staff. Our longtime conservationist, Lori Lenhart, took a job with urban agriculture in the city of Cincinnati. She's really enjoying herself. Our new district conservationist is Christina Gates, and our new soil conservationist is Brittany McAdams. Turning to urban stormwater management, one of the most requested services that the district provides is assistance with drainage and erosion complaints. So if a resident or a landowner has on private property, if they have problems with flooding, with standing water, poor drainage, with ditch or stream bank erosion, problems with failing storm sewers, or issues with ponds, they can call our office and we'll schedule a visit with them. We'll come out, meet with them, check out the problem, and give them any guidance and technical assistance we can to help them solve the problem. 2019 was an extremely wet and extremely busy year for us in terms of this service we offer. We had 135 site visits, which I think may be a record for our office in terms of sheer numbers. I know the board is aware that Ohio EPA requires Clermont County and any political jurisdiction that's within the urbanized area of greater Cincinnati to implement different programs that reduce the amount of pollutants in stormwater runoff. So we have, the county has a permit through Ohio EPA, and we hold that jointly with 14 other townships and municipalities. Clermont Soil and Water Conservation District administers a number of the required programs on behalf of the county and the townships and the municipalities. These programs include developing the stormwater management plan. And this is the document that tells Ohio EPA how we're going to meet the conditions of the permit. We are expecting a revised permit from Ohio EPA this fall, probably in October, after which we'll be working with the board, with other departments in the county and our township partners to revise the stormwater management plan. Other programs we administer, the public education and involvement programs, storm sewer system mapping, the illicit discharge detection and elimination program. We inspect stormwater management practices such as detention and retention basins after they're constructed. We help the townships to develop stormwater pollution prevention plans, and we do the annual reporting. A quick review of some of the public education and involvement programs under the permit. Our annual spring litter cleanup, formerly known as East Fork River Sweep. We had an exceptionally successful event in 2019. 450 volunteers picked up 3.2 tons of trash along the banks of the East Fork, along the banks of East Fork Lake, and in various community parks throughout the county. Also annually, we hold a pond and stormwater basin management clinic. Jay Kahn, our technician, leads this. He worked hard to completely revamp the clinic in 2019. And I think the success of that showed with our turnout. We had 55 attendees, which was really great. The stormwater basins that are required with new developments, these are typically maintained privately, either by the businesses or if the basin's in a subdivision by homeowners associations. So to help these folks out, we developed a comprehensive stormwater basin management guide in 2019 that we directly mailed to each of the owners and operators of the basins. And finally, since every county in Southwest Ohio and Northern Kentucky, for that matter, fall under the same stormwater requirements, the different soil and water conservation districts and stormwater districts have, we've pooled our efforts and really to stretch our resources a little bit more to develop education programs that reach a greater number of people. We've formed this regional stormwater collaborative. The signature event of the collaborative is the annual Rain Barrel Art event. Rain barrels, usually pretty drab. So what the collaborative does is we have 40 barrels. We provide to local artists who paint some really tremendous, impressive designs on them. You can see some of them in the photo there. And then through the month of April, they're displayed at the Cincinnati Zoo. And at one of the zoo's Tunes and Blooms events, towards the end of the month, we auction them off. So last year was the 7th annual Rain Barrel Art event. Along with that, the collaborative holds at least 2 educational events a year on various stormwater management topics. Permit program activity, storm sewer mapping is required by the permit to develop a comprehensive plan of every bit of storm sewer infrastructure we have. Just an interesting note on that, I guess, for 2019. So with the first permit, we did not have any of this information in GIS electronically at all. We were starting from scratch. So it's been a long effort to field map all of the pipes, the catch basins, the manholes, everything that's out there. And in 2019, towards the end of the year, we mapped our very last structure. It was a road culvert in Utopia down along the Ohio River. So we celebrated that with a photo. Of course, now we have to maintain the database and update it as the system is improved and new development occurs. Illicit discharge detection and elimination. The permit requires us to have this program, and if there are any illicit or illegal discharges to the storm sewer, we have to eliminate them. We had 4 of those incidents in 2019, all pretty minor and all resolved. The stormwater basin inspections. Now, even though these basins are privately owned and maintained for the most part, the permit still requires the county to ensure that the basins are maintained in the long term. So to accomplish this, after construction has been completed, we have an inspection schedule. We inspect a certain number each year, and if we identify issues, we notify the post-construction owner with a letter. And in 2019, we inspected 143 basins and found issues in 30, a lot of which have been corrected. Finally, under the permit, the permit requires every co-permittee to develop a stormwater pollution and prevention plan for their activities, for their road activities, anything the township, the county, the village does. And obviously they have to implement those programs on their own, but Soil and Water helps them develop the required plans. We meet with them, we tour their facilities, document everything we're doing, and draft these plans for them. And in 2019, we updated 12 of the plans. Okay, a lot of the projects we do are made possible through grants. And over recent years, we've been exceptionally successful in landing some of these grants. Some of the projects, some of the grants we got in 2019 and the projects that are ongoing now, stream restoration project, Shore Park on Tealtown Road. Right now there's a section of Avies Run Creek that runs through a pipe that's failing. A lot of sinkholes on the property, which of course is bad in a public park. So we partnered with Park District to obtain this grant from Ohio EPA to take out the storm sewer, fix the sinkholes, and recreate the stream through the park. Design has been completed, construction probably next year. Our submerged vegetated bed is something we're really proud of. And did we see this on our tour? I don't know if we stopped here on our tour or not. Maybe not. Anyway, this was designed by Jake, a really innovative nutrient removal practice. It's in the location of an old eroding waterway on a local farm. And what it is, it's a combination linear detention basin that goes into a wetland treatment system. And what you see in the top photo there is the wetland treatment system. Very effective at removing the nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus. This has been monitored by the county's Office of Environmental Quality. We're getting better than 30% removal of both nitrogen and phosphorus. And in 2019, the project was recognized as the Ohio Government Project of the Year by the Ohio Stormwater Association.
I didn't get a chance to see it through Storm. I saw it through Water Quality from Hannah.
Okay, yes, yes. Yeah, that project, a lot of our projects, not only are they made possible by grants, but they're made possible by the different collaborations, partnerships we have, and the Office of Environmental Quality is certainly a big one. And that's the, the next one, Batavia Dam removal in 2019. At long last, we saw the Low Head Dam in Batavia come out. What this does, among other things, is it opens up the East Fork to recreation all the way from the dam at East Fork Lake to the Little Miami River. And this was in partnership with Valley View Foundation. Valley View managed the project, but Soil and Water was able to secure the funding through Ohio EPA's WRRSP program.
And removing those low head dams actually reestablished and reconnected two completely different ecological systems together because they actually were different, right?
Yeah. You have pool habitat above and more, I guess, more natural stream habitat below. So it certainly improved the habitat through the area, which improves the aquatic biology, which is what Ohio EPA regulates us on. And yes, open it up to recreation, and maybe most importantly, it eliminated a real danger. People play on the dams, they fish on the dams. If you fall off the dam and get caught in that hydraulic turbulence on the downstream end, a number of people have died at these things. So we were very happy to take out that risk.
John, can you tell us what WRRSP stands for? The acronyms don't really.
Yeah, it's a long one, so I skipped it, but yes, I can. It's the Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. And actually, we have another grant application in for funding through this program to restore almost a mile stretch of the lower East Fork where we're having some real severe bank erosion problems and the property owners are losing a lot of land. This would be a really big project. We put in for $3.6 million. We'll probably hear sometime in October whether we get that or not, but if we get that, that's going to be a fantastic project.
So that's on the East Fork?
That's on the East Fork, the lower East Fork, down along Round Bottom Road. It goes through the property of Madison Tree Service, and they're the ones that are losing a lot of land to the severe bank erosion. Okay, wrap up the grant projects. We're at the tail end of a watershed grant from Ohio Department of Ag, which allows us to update watershed management plans for different sections of the East Fork. And what that does, other than giving us a good management plan, is once approved by the state, it makes us eligible for grant projects in those sub-watersheds. And finally, in 2019, we received funding through U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And earlier this year, we received supplemental funding from Governor DeWine's H2 Ohio program to convert the old reservoir for the village of Williamsburg into a nutrient removal wetland. So as I mentioned before, the nutrients, the nitrogen and the phosphorus are driving the algal blooms in the lake. And the key to controlling the blooms is reducing the nitrogen and phosphorus input to the river. And this is what this wetland treatment system would do. Like our other projects, we're doing this in cooperation with the board through the Office of Environmental Quality, with US EPA's Office of Research and Development, and the entire East Watershed Cooperative. And because algal blooms are a big issue throughout the state, this project is getting a lot of attention at the state level. And finally, I'll wrap up with some of our other education and community outreach programs. I mentioned at the outset, we employ an educational coordinator. Last year, 2019, it was Judy Krebs, and she ended her 31 years by providing 102 days of programming in our local schools on topics such as soil quality, stormwater pollution, pollinators. She also did 23 days related to litter prevention and recycling, which helps the Adams Clermont Solid Waste District meet some of their requirements, and conducted an end-of-year recycling blitz at 3 schools. And this is interesting because, you know, in a typical school year, when classes end, teachers are cleaning out their desks, students are cleaning out their lockers, a tremendous amount of waste, most of it paper, most of it can be recycled. So with the solid waste district, we did the blitz at these 3 schools. 6.5 tons of material recycled within a week from 3 schools. Really an incredible amount. Our conservation plant sale, we hold annually each April. Last year, we provided over 2,000 plants and 20 rain barrels to more than 130 people. And I thought I would end with our conservation tours. We held 2 of these in 2019, one for other soil and water district technicians and one for elected officials, including the Board of County Commissioners. And that tour resulted in, I think, one of the best pictures we took all last year.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It really was.
we've got a lot of good cooperators out there doing a lot of good work, and we like showing that off.
Great education for us as well.
So that's all I had. If you have questions about any of our programs, if any resident or landowner needs assistance from us, our contact information is up there. Give us a call, shoot us an email. We'd be happy to come out and meet with them.
John, thanks for taking
Thank you,
time
John.
out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll move on with our agenda. We don't have any further presentation.
No, sir.
We'll go to E, consent agenda. Board of consent agenda has been approved for you prior to this meeting. I know you've had it since Friday and had an opportunity to review it. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda for further discussion?
None.
None.
Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Then moved, received the second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. We'll move on to F, to the non-consent agenda. It starts on page 3, item number 7. Item number 7 is a recommendation of the Board of County Commissioners adopt resolution 153-20, resolving to approve payment to vendors in the amount of $1,837,989.16, as set forth in the BCC approval invoice report for the checks dated September 23rd, 2020, BCC directed prepaid invoice reports and/or the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on 9/22/2020, and further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for the same pursuant to section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
A second.
It's been moved, received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Item number 8. Morning. How are you?
Good, and you? Item number 8, recommendation of Robert S. Leahy, County Sheriff, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Igo, County Administrator, to execute the second renewal and amendment number 3 of the contract for services by and between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County, Ohio, and Summit Food Services, LCC, whose address is 500 East 52nd Street, North, Sioux Falls, South Dakota 57104, for inmate food services for the Clermont County Adult and Juvenile Detention Facilities, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 8/29/18, extended on 9/4/19, amended and renewed on 9/25/19, and amended on 6/17/2020, to increase the cost per meal as stated therein, which reflects a 3 1/10% increase in concert with the Consumer Price Index for the all cities food away from home for the previous 12 months, in accordance with Article 16 of the aforesaid contract for services, and to renew for an additional 12 months in accordance with Article 15 of the aforestated contract, effective for the period 9/30/2020 through 9/29/2021, with all other terms and conditions of the original contract for services with the amendments thereto to remain in full force and effect unless otherwise modified by this amendment.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 8. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Captain Hope, since you are here this morning and jail inmate services are so important to you, I would just ask, just for a general, food quality, you want to come to the podium a second?
They've been a food service vendor for us approximately 5 years. We're happy with their services. Obviously, it's bulk processed meals, and they also provide what's called Fresh Express, which is sold hamburgers, steak hoagie, stuff like that to the inmates at their cost.
And just for those who are watching today, Fresh Express is an option that's available to people who are at our jail that are high quality and plus high profit items that those monies that are gained can be used for further inmate services while they're there.
That is correct, right?
Well, thank you. I wanted to make sure you were satisfied with this particular service because I know you're one of the people the closest to it. And thanks for all you do and for your service and for your team in our jail.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 9.
Good morning, I'm Lyle Bloom, Director with the Water Resources Department, and item 9 is a recommendation to approve the request to advertise for bids for the furnishing and delivery of chemicals to the county for the county waterworks system pursuant to the specifications, and to authorize the clerk of the board to place a legal notice in a newspaper of general circulation on October 1st, 2020. Schedule a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting on Thursday, October 15th, 2020 at 10 a.m. with bids to be received until 2:00 p.m. local time on Thursday, October 22nd, 2020 in the Office of the Board of County Commissioners, 101 East Main Street, Batavia, where they will be publicly opened and read aloud shortly thereafter. And this notice will also be posted on the county's website. And this is for chemicals we use at our 3 water treatment plants.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 9 for chemicals for the water treatment plants. Do I have a motion for item number 9?
Move we approve item number 9.
I'll second the motion.
Then moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 10.
Item 10, I think John McManus was going to come back in and read that.
Right there.
Item number 10 is a recommendation of Lyle Bloom, Director of Utilities, Clermont County Water Resources Department, with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to execute a memorandum of understanding by and between the Clermont Soil and Water Conservation District and the Clermont County Board of Commissioners for the overall administration of programs associated with the Ohio EPA's General Discharge Permit for Small Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Systems. This memorandum supersedes the Memorandum of Understanding previously ratified by the board on March 7th, 2018, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 10. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Sorry. I'll second.
Then moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion?
No.
Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Item number 11.
Thank you very much.
All right, item number 11 is a recommendation to accept the following grants of sewer easements with rights of reentry for repair and replacement that will be granted and conveyed to Clermont County for utility purposes of constructing, operating, maintaining, repairing, replacing, removing, or reinstalling sewer utility lines, pumping equipment, manholes, and all incidental fixtures required for the transportation of sewage in, on, under, and across the property of the grantors. And this is for project number 6402-60116 relative to the Newtonsville Collection System Assessment Project located in Wayne Township, and to authorize the execution of the plats of easements as designated in and as it relates thereto, and further to authorize the county auditor to remit payment to the grantors in the amounts as outlined and as indicated on the settlement sheets as compensation for the permanent easement and rights of way granted thereby and repairs relative thereto. And this is for 4 additional easements. We have a total of 43 that are required, so that brings us to 13 of the 43.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 12.
Item 12 is a recommendation to award the bid for project number 6401-60162 relative to the Elwyn, Devlin, Teakwood, and Berdova water main replacement project located in Miami Township pursuant to the plans and specifications to Ford Development Corporation out of Cincinnati for the lowest and best bid received on August 20th, 2020 for a total amount not to exceed $947,220 and to execute the contract relative thereto pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein and award of bid therefore and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order. Their bid was just under 99% of the engineer's estimate. This project will replace approximately 6,154 feet of 6-inch water main that was installed in the 1950s and 1960s.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 12. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'm sorry, I second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thanks,
Thank
Lyle.
you.
Item number 13.
Wayne's on.
Okay. This says item 12 in my, on mine, I'm sorry. I'm Wayne Prescott, the fleet manager for the county. It's my recommendation with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, that the Board of County Commissioners resolve 1, to declare certain personal property, specifically motor vehicles, trailers, equipment / trailers acquired for the use of county officers and departments of Clermont County, Ohio, is no longer needed for public use, obsolete or unfit for use for which it was acquired, and forfeited vehicles released for sale from the Clermont County Sheriff's Office, and to sell the aforestated property at public auction to the highest bidder pursuant to section 307.12 A1 of the Ohio Revised Code to execute the contract for auction services by and between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County, Ohio, and Mike Toller, doing business as Toller's Auction Services, Inc., 506 North Market Street, PO Box 245, Felicity, Ohio, to advertise, promote, and sell the referenced personal property at public auction, with the commission therefore to be 8% of the gross sales pursuant to the compliance and terms and conditions set forth therein. 3, to authorize the clerk of the board to place a notice of public auction in a paper of general circulation on 10/1/2020, designating Saturday, 10/17/2020 at 10 a.m. local time at the premises known as the Clermont County Municipal Court rear parking lot, located at 4430 State Route 222, Batavia, Ohio 45103, as the date, time, and place for the sale. Therefore, this notice will also be posted on the Clermont County's website at the following URL link: www.clermontcountyohio.gov. In order to view the legal notice, please click on the link Legal Notices located on the Clermont County homepage.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 13. Do I have a motion of consideration?
So moved.
A second.
Been moved, received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Item number 14.
Item number 14 is a recommendation of Steve Scott, County Building Inspector, with the concurrence of Michael McNamara, Director of Community and Economic Development, to authorize David L. Painter, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute Amendment Number 4 to the License Hosting and Services Agreement by and between the County of Clermont and Tyler Technologies for the implementation of the EnerGov Permit Land Management Solutions Software Program for the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 10/19/2016 and subsequently amended on 8/9/2017, 12/12/2018, and 2/20/2019, which represents an increase in the recurring annual cost for the additional service of client services account management for the period of 8/1/2020 through 7/31/2021 at a current rate of $12,500 for a total revised contract amount not to exceed $486,026. And as it relates to the Tyler Technologies Incorporated, quote number 2020-113092, dated 7/10/2020. Therefore, with all of the terms and conditions of the reference agreement and amendments thereto to remain in full force and effect.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 14. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Greg, just before we call this one to a vote, this is for the permitting, building inspection and permitting process. Is that what it's for?
Yeah, so what this does is, so we've got a couple of services that are coming online. This is in response to a customer self-service where people will be able to do their own services in terms of applying for certain permits, paying for certain permits. Because we do that, it creates a whole new layer of complexity with the health department, the building department. This is to expand support, so we keep that up and running. You're going to see later on the addition of the whole online submittal as a response to COVID. So this is kind of the first part of it was always planned, but this is a good time to have this put in place.
In one of the other things, I know, if I remember right, when we started this program, we included the townships and in the villages and cities that use that type of technology. Will this impact them any? Will they have to fees associated with that to them?
No, not with them. It will help with the back end that they use. If there are problems that develop, we do have the expedited support to get that corrected. So it won't directly impact them and there's no fees to it, but it ultimately will improve their service.
And is this something that we would actually pick up with COVID relief funds? Is this enhance the ability that people don't have to come to the counter, be associated in the inspection department? Is that where we're planning on the funds from for them?
Well, it does enhance the not coming to the counter, but unfortunately this was already in the budget prior to. COVID has caused us to expand this in ways we didn't think were possible, but that will be coming next, and that will be funded through the COVID money.
Thank you. Any other conversation or discussion?
No.
Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Item number 15.
Good morning.
Hi, Yvonne.
Yvonne Smith, Benefit Plan Coordinator for Clermont County. It's my recommendation, with the concurrence of Sandy DeHutt, Human Resources Administrator, to resolve, number one, to accept the 2021 vendor recommendations. This is reflected on page 5, medical plan option number 1 of the presentation that was provided to the commissioners last week on 9/16. And to acknowledge the renewals of the listed carriers for 2021 as outlined in the table attached to the printed agenda, effective January 1st, 2021. And number 2, to authorize the Human Resources Benefits Coordinator to obtain new agreements as noted for the reference services for submittal to the Board of County Commissioners for ratification thereof. And number 3, to establish the cafeteria plan reflecting the 2021 plans and costs, as well as the 2021 benefit credits relative thereto as listed on the printed agenda. And number 4, to schedule the 2021 employee benefits open enrollment period, therefore. And just really quickly, the carriers that are new for this year will have new contracts are United Healthcare, and that is for medical, administration, and claims payment. Optum RX,
And that also is for prescription drug administration functions and claims processing. The other vendors are all renewals. They are under multi-year contracts, and those are Dental Care Plus, iMed, Vision Care, Boyer Insurance Company, Schott Snyder and Associates, P&A Administrative Services for Cobra, TriHealth EAP.
Already heard the reading of item number 15. Do I have a motion for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved, received a second. Any further conversation or discussion?
The smoking thing was not any part of this, right?
Yes, if I may, just elaborate on some of what we've talked about and discussed. And as you probably recall from the Haran's prior presentation, the initial projected increase for the medical and RX and stop loss was over $1.2 million. After further negotiations with UHC, Optum, and the competitive stop loss proposals that we received, it resulted in some plan enhancements and also a much higher RX rebate guarantee, and then a lower projected increase to our stop loss insurance. These negotiations reduced the projected increase from 1.2 million to 929,000, using an assumption of a 10% stop loss increase, which we don't actually have that yet, but that's what we're assuming. It was Haran's recommendation, and the Health Advisory Committee and HR looked at several scenarios for plan design changes in order to reduce the amount that we would need to come up with. Of the final three options, the team is recommending option number 1 on page 5 of the Haran presentation from last week. This change is a relatively minor change and would apply only to the high deductible plan. It replaces the existing $80 specialist copay with a 90/10 coinsurance, which is split on claims after the member reaches the deductible. The deductible and the maximum out-of-pocket amounts will remain the same level as they are today. It's only the path to the maximum that will actually be different. Option 1 would impact the least number of employees, and yet it would still net a $308,000 reduction on the increase. Making this simple but effective change would reduce the increase further from the original 1.2 million to just over 600,000. There were many changes made to the copay for 2020, so no additional changes were recommended for 2021. The recommended plan change and renegotiated rebates leave a balance of less than 50% of the original estimated increase. Given that this has been a very difficult year for all of us, but especially for those employees whose households have experienced an unexpected job loss. For these reasons, HR, the Health Advisory Committee, and OMB are recommending that the county absorb the remaining projected increase without passing along any increases to employee contributions for 2021. Further, I just want to specifically mention that there were a lot of discussions regarding claim costs generated by tobacco users on the plan. UHC provided us with claims data showing that employees on the county tobacco user plans have generated claims that are at least 14% higher than non-tobacco users. And it is likely that the actual impact is even higher than that, as captured information does not reflect dependent users or how secondhand smoke is impacting claims of family members. With this data in mind, the Healthcare Advisory Committee strongly recommends increasing the tobacco user rate from $5 per pay to $25 per pay, as reflected in the attached motion. BCC administration and HR recommends a lower increase from $5 to $15 per pay this year, and then an increase to $25 per pay next year.
Anything else more? And Yvonne, what we have in front of us here, this includes the pay rate of 25.
Yes.
So what we're actually going to vote on is going to include that 25, not the 50 that the advisory committee recommended.
Well, it's 25 per pay, which is the 50 that the Health Advisory Committee recommended.
So it will.
It is the committee's recommendation.
Any other comments?
Just I don't see where charging someone that amount of money per month is going to make them stop smoking. It's an addiction. Very strong addiction. As a former smoker, I totally understand that. And that wouldn't have made a difference to me because I think you'll go find the money if you want to smoke. I just want to encourage some other really good programs for employees somehow to involve exercise or whatever to help them quit. And I just don't see making them. In these times when money is so tight and people have been under so much, I just cannot see charging that amount.
Now, our plan also includes an alcohol cessation program, does it not?
The Public Health Department offers a free tobacco cessation program for all Clermont County residents and also for any Clermont County employees. So that program is actually free. Part of the enhancements that UHC provided for us for 2021 is a Quit for Life tobacco program, which is an online program that people can actually have an app for, that it would be reminders and things like that. So that is something that is coming up, and we're really, really hopeful that it will have a big impact on the way people think about. And we do have a lot of people who've gone through the Public Health Department's program, but have not been able to stop, so maybe this would be helpful to those people. And then just as a reminder, the medical plan does provide prescription drugs for tobacco cessation as well. And those are free of charge. Those are covered by the plan 100%.
So through that medical plan, you can obtain, like for instance, cessation patches and those kind of things.
Yeah, that's all different types of things you can. I think the Chantix, I don't believe is covered, but there are generic products like Chantix that are covered as well, prescription drugs and patches.
And any comment?
Yes, since the tobacco users have a higher cost, it seems to me that the non-tobacco users are supplementing their insurance, and therefore I think that it is appropriate that we go ahead and have increase the cost for tobacco users. So I guess I oppose Ms. Corcoran's thoughts on that, because I think that non-tobacco users are supplementing their payments.
Any other comments, discussions?
None.
Okay. You have a chance to vote on it. Roll call, Holly.
So we're voting on as presented to us with a $50 per month or $25 per pay increase. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
No.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Item number 16.
Good morning. Item 16 is a recommendation to accept my request as county engineer to initiate procedures to change the name of a portion of Elick Lane to Buxton Road located in Union Township, and to authorize the clerk of the board to place a notice of public hearing in the Clermont Sun for 1 week commencing on Thursday, October 1st, 2020, designating the date, time, and location of the public hearing to be held thereon pursuant to and in compliance with section 5541.04 of the Ohio Revised Code. Public hearing to be held on Wednesday, October 21st, 2020 at 11 a.m. local time in the office of the Board of County Commissioners, Clermont County, Ohio, 101 East Main Street, Batavia, Ohio 45103. We can go into more detail at that public hearing, but this is related to the interchange project that ODOT has coming up on State Route 32 in this area. Some of the streets in that area are going to be realigned and modified. So this name change would provide continuity for Buxton Road through the new alignment. Now is a good time to do this. There are no address changes in this area, and we should see work starting, construction activity starting on this project next year.
Thanks, Jeremy. Board, you've heard the reading of item number 16. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 17.
Morning, Mary Raines from OMB. Item number 17 was sent up here from the auditor's office, and it's a recommendation to adopt resolution number 15420, resolving to accept, authorize, and certify to the county auditor the amounts and rates for each tax levy to be levied on the tax duplicate of the county, both inside and outside of the 10 mil limitation for fiscal year 2021, as determined by the Clermont County Budget Commission. And this is pursuant to section 570534 of the revised code.
You've heard the reading of item number 17. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 18.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael McNamara from the Director of Community and Economic Development. Resolution number 18, Department of Community and Economic Development, Resolution number 155-20, resolving to adopt the Clermont County Small Business Relief Initiative 20-0814-004. Recommendation of Michael McNamara, Director, Department of Community and Economic Development, with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to adopt Resolution number 155-20 relative to Clermont County Small Business Relief Initiative, whereby the county will provide grants of up to $5,000 to eligible local small businesses, up to a maximum total allocation of $500,000 for all grant awards, with said resolution to supersede Resolution 140-20, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 8/19/2020 and subsequently amended on 9/16/2020. Biggest amendment on this one, you'll notice, is the move from $200,000 to $500,000. This also gives us a little bit of discretion on the rules regarding participation, because we need to have these funds encumbered by the middle of October. So that gives us our needed room to maneuver.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 18. Do I have a motion?
I will make the motion.
Then moved.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Item number 19.
Item number 19 is a request to increase the annual appropriations for 2020 in the Board of Elections Grant Fund. It's for the total amount of $215,870. And it's for three different grants, $9,100, $40,000, and $166,770.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 19 for resolution to approve changes in the annual appropriation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Then moved, received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additions at this time, Greg?
Unless you want Mary to give you a budget update while she's right here real quickly. We have no other additions.
I will do that. I'll pull, hearing no additions in G. I'll move I up for county staff and elected official discussions. Mary, could you give us an update on how we look as far as budgetary and actual cost of work performed?
Okay, pretty much, I'm going to stick with sales tax again this week. Sales tax distribution came in last week for the July accounting period, which was the June collections more or less. And we got over 20% increase over last year. Now, part of that is because the auto sales had 5 weeks reporting this year as opposed to 4 weeks last year. The reverse is happening with the preliminary numbers for August. Last year it was 5 weeks. This year is only 4. So we're seeing they're projecting an 18% reduction in the auto sales part. But the non-auto, they're projecting a 6% increase. So we should be close with that balancing out to what we had last year within maybe a couple percentages.
Okay.
So we're.
If I remember right, that key was about 30 million. Is that
Yes. Yep. So I think we're still on track, which is the, great change for that biggest revenue source in our general fund. But as always, we have to caution for what these next couple months are going to see. Other than that, we're waiting for the House to take a look at Senate Bill 357 for the distribution of the remaining $650 million for the state COVID CARES Act monies. That will be distributed on population rather than local government fund formulas. And the Clermont County should get about almost $14.9 million, of which half of that will stay with the county and the other half will go out to our political subdivisions and villages. Yep.
And will that be distributed to them based on population also?
Yes. Yes.
Any questions for Mary concerning budgetary projections or revenue projections? Mary, thanks. Thanks for always taking your time out, answering my questions and giving us some good information about where we're at.
We will be sending out 21 budgets within next week, probably. And we'll be able to see how things are going with what departments are seeing and make any other adjustments. And we'll take a really hard look at revenues through September and see what kind of an impact we have for next year.
The only thing left now that could turn us loose a little further is if we can get over this virus restrictions.
Right.
We'll make it there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no further additions to the agenda, I'll go to H, executive session. And I understand we are not going to need to confer with the prosecuting attorney today.
That's correct.
So I'm going to request an executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1 only of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment and or compensation of one or more public employees. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
Make the motion.
Second.
And move, receive the second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes, we will move to executive session. We will return and we will conduct further business. Thank you. We've returned from executive session. There were no actions taken and no decisions made. We will move on with our regularly provided agenda. I'll go back to G for a second and ask, are there any additions to the agenda?
Commissioner, we do have an addition we'd like you to consider. That would be personnel actions for 2 employees.
Okay. You've heard the request board to add 2 additions to the agenda for personnel actions today. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda?
I move that we amend the agenda to include those items.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes, the agenda has been amended, and can we take those personnel actions one at a time?
Yes, sir. The first personnel action is with the Board of County Commissioners for Holly Crewy, a temporary job change to Clerk of the Board effective June 3rd, 2020.
You have heard the motion as read for Holly Crewy to become the clerk of this board. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. And the second?
The second personnel action is also with the Board of County Commissioners, Deborah Sharp, a temporary pay supplement effective June 3rd, 2020.
You've heard the reading for a supplemental pay adjustment for Debbie Sharp. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Anything further? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Anything further, board?
We just,
One more.
Yes, does the board need to make a motion to appoint Ms. Cruey as clerk of the board now?
I believe that we do. And so I would ask that we would have another addition to the agenda for a appointment of Holly Cruey to clerk of the board. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda?
no, it's. I think we need a correction. I thought we already did that.
For what?
The very first one.
Well, we did the,
That was your
Motion.
personnel action.
yeah, that was your personnel
Personnel.
action.
Okay,
Mhm.
now,
Yeah, but didn't that cover it?
No, that was a personnel action, Ed.
Yeah, for the first action I read was a personnel action to do a temporary work level 2 clerk of the board for the additional pay to cover that position. And the second action is to actually appoint her as official clerk of the board during session.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
And all I'm asking for is to amend the agenda to consider that resolution.
you want the amendment now? Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay? Ed, did you second?
Yes, second.
Okay. It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Sandy, would you go ahead and recite the resolution here that's been added to the agenda?
I do not have that prepared. I don't know if it's, I apologize. I've only heard the board state that you appoint
Yeah, you
a
just need a
clerk.
motion appointing.
That's all. We
Holly.
just need a motion.
Right, that's
That's
correct.
all. Well, I'll tell you what then. I'll make that motion. I'll make a motion that we appoint Holly Cruey as the clerk of the Clermont County Board of Commissioners. And that effective date will be today, September the 23rd, 2020. And Holly will carry the duties as recited in the Ohio Revised Code, per the commissioners declaring that there is a need to employ a full-time clerk here of the board. So I've made the motion.
I'll second.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Then moved and received a second. Any
So-
further conversation or discussion?
Yes, I'm trying to understand. Judy Kosika is currently injured. Would we expect, I would expect to bring her back as clerk of the board if she's able to return to work.
Understood.
Okay,
Understood.
we all understand that.
Mhm.
Okay,
Do we,
We've had a motion and a second. Mr. Humphrey, second.
and that was discussion.
Yep. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
yes. We do the salary.
Congratulations, Holly. You are the official clerk of this board.
We did the salary.
You did that in the first personnel.
That's fine.
That
Thank
that
you.
first was the
Okay,
personnel action was
covered.
first.
Thank you. That's where I got.
You just have to
Yep.
go through the formal
Right.
motion of appointing her as the clerk of the
Okay.
board. They're
Got
two
it.
separate actions that had to be taken.
Okay.
Any other additions to the agenda?
That's all that we have.
Okay. Any county or staff elected officials discussion further?
There's none.
Okay. Then I will go to Jay for board member comments. Board members, any comments today?
Just remind everyone to continue to be safe. Continue.
Absolutely.
We still have COVID election around the corner. So
I did want to have a discussion today, and I just wanted to talk about, there seems to be a lot of concern about the election cycle this year and about safe ways to be able to actually vote in the upcoming general election. Wanted to make sure that those who are listening or watching today understand that there are 3 very secure ways to vote. One of them is by absenteeism ballot, which you have to send an application in to receive an absentee ballot. And then you have a couple of other ways. You can vote in person after October the 6th at the Clermont County Board of Elections right here in Batavia behind our office. And then you can also vote at your polling location on November the 3rd. Since I've already talked about mail-in and getting an absenteeism ballot, you can, once you receive your absenteeism ballot, you can mail it in by standard United States postal mail, or you can drop it off in the drop box right here behind our building at the Board of Elections. One of the other things I wanted to talk about before, it seems that news coverage now, people kind of give the information that they want to. I just let you know that I made a stop over at the Board of Elections. They have received about 20,000 requests for absenteeism ballots, and they go through each one of those one at a time. But one of the other things that they have received is about 5,000 duplicate applications for absenteeism ballots. Now, before anybody puts a spin on that that's negative, how that is happening is that, as you are aware, you're receiving lots of pieces of mail at home that says, if you want to vote by absentee, fill out our application and send it back. And you've seen some of those that obviously can come from our Board of Elections. They can come from the state secretary's office. Some of those have shown up, and people worried about getting a ballot are filling out all of them in hopes that that results in a ballot. Now, that would seem like a good opportunity to do that. But what it does is it ends up with 2 or 3 applications at the Board of Elections for the same person that is requesting an absenteeism ballot. Now, before you worry about that, let me take those concerns away. That the people who work at the Board of Elections, they input every one of those applications. And so the minute a second one shows up, as they're inputting it, the original one that's put in comes up. The problem with that is that you have to put in a lot of information before it recognizes that. So then they have to take that information out, and they are having to do that, multiple times.
5,000 you said.
And so what I would caution everybody on is that if you have filled out an application for an absenteeism ballot, you will get your absentee ballot. And there is no need to fill out multiple applications. So just because that causes them a lot of work, obviously, because of party affiliation, those kind of activities have to be done jointly between a representative of the Republican Party and a representative of the Democratic Party. So you can imagine when you're trying to deal with 20,000 application requests and an additional 5,000 that are believed to be duplicates from the numbers that they are seeing, we're making their job very, very tough when we don't have to. And these are not, to take away any thought about that, these are not duplicates being sent in by someone else. They're duplicates being sent in by the requester. So I just wanted to make that clear. There are 3 great ways to vote. You don't have to worry about any of the 3. Just follow the instructions. And if you have any questions whatsoever, call the Clermont County Board of Elections right here in Clermont County, and someone will assist you. Thanks. Anything else, board members? With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
A second.
Been moved and second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thanks for watching today. That concludes our meeting of September 23rd, 2020. Have a safe week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you.